Alright guys, thanks for sticking around for today's end-of-day webinar. It is July 20th, 2016. I put together a really solid day here today. This week has been phenomenal. Last week was super consistent. And today, we talked a little bit yesterday about sizing up, and today I sized up a little bit on OPGN. While still staying pretty relatively safe the whole time, just used a little bit more size than normal and made some pretty good adds on this one. So it ended up being a very, very nice trade for the day. OPTT wasn't far behind with a couple of dip buy opportunities that I took on it. OPGN long was through here as we did over the stream on that long setup. And other than that, the only loser was, I guess, PGNX, which this morning was it just didn't behave well. So as soon as I recognized that, hey, this is trading like crap today, I just moved on and left it behind and moved on to the stuff that was trading well. So something to keep in mind, it's just like yesterday on, I forget what stock it was. We were trading one yesterday that was institutionally owned and it was behaving really strangely. Sometimes the best thing to do is if a stock's just not behaving properly, if it's not trading, in a nice trend or following through like you think it should. Yeah, yesterday was HDSN, was giving us trouble, so just left that one behind, and just move on to what's working. So this is actually the biggest day I've had in 2016 so far. I haven't had any huge days in 2016, but I've been super consistent. It's been more of a year about consistency for me and just trying to, trade stress-free, not put on too much size where I'm uncomfortable with the positions or that I'm feeling, like that it's going to affect me emotionally while I'm trading. But it's been pretty solid all around. And today I sized up a little bit, and it worked out well. I think that the plan for tomorrow is, I'm going to size back down a little bit tomorrow and just, obviously I want to keep the train rolling forward, but at the same time, usually after a big win streak, eventually it usually comes to a screeching halt with some kind of a loss. But I've been, really solid with my trade planning and execution. I haven't been letting myself do any chasing. I've just been following these simple tips, these 3 simple tips for account building. And just rolling forward each day into the next. And we're super lucky to be in the kind of market that we're in right now. It's mid-July, and we're heading towards the last week of July, and it's just been jam-packed with so much action on stocks like OPTT, SPU, which I didn't actually get a trade on yet today, or at all today. But that was a big one for me yesterday. All these stocks are just providing some really good opportunities, and then the 1 or 2 per day like OPGN that really open up provides some more really good opportunities. So yeah, I guess we got 10 minutes till the close, guys. There's nothing really specific that I wanted to go over today, so I just kind of wanted to open the floor to you guys and just let me know if there's anything you want me to cover specifically about this week's action. Or I did mention or notice that one person mentioned they had their best trading day to date today after joining us in less than a month. So that's just huge. Big time congratulations to D Haggy for that. And I was wondering how the rest of you guys are doing. Is everyone doing okay? Did anyone struggle today in any way? Is there any way that we might be able to help? Because if you do find that you're struggling a little bit in certain areas, the best way for us to help is just to reach out and let us know. And we're a pretty open group, so just go ahead and just let us know if there's anything in chat that you think you're struggling with, or how you might, if you're kind of having a certain issue in certain areas, like whether it's pulling the trigger or if you're just, trying to build some confidence, whatever it is, just let us know and we can help. If we don't hear from you, we just assume you're all doing really well. And so, definitely reach out if there's something that we can do to help, all right? But as far as, me posting my results on a daily basis go, I do that for a couple reasons. One is because I want to inspire a little bit. 2 is I want to show you what's possible with, 11 years of hard work. But one thing I don't want to do is I don't want people to look at these numbers and then think that they're not doing well because these numbers are not where they're at. Just remember that it took a lot of years to build up to this level for me. And when the market's slow, like I'm still, I'm not really like super greedy when it comes to trading profits. I love what I do, so I'm happy to make $200 a day. On any average day, if I'm making between $200 and $300, especially if the market's super slow, I'm totally happy with that. But when things are really, really going well, I'll ramp it up, and I'll have these bursts of nice profits, like the last week and a half to 2 weeks. That's going to be a nice chunk of my summer, most likely. So even if things do slow down for a week or two in August, I'll just scale it back and go back to, $200-$300 days until the market ramps back up into something that, will provide the opportunity required to make, back to making 1,000 or more, or 2,000 a day, right? So it's not like every single day forever going to be making $4,000. Today was like $4,300. It's a big day for me. Because my game is more about consistency, as you guys know. I don't really swing for home runs each day. I'm more or less like I want to make solid contact every day and leave with a profit. Even if it's 200, 4, 5, 6, 1,000, 2, whatever it is, my goal every day is just to finish green, right? And so I focus more on trading defensively, trading smart, having a plan. Then I focus on, today I need to come in and make, X amount of dollars. Because that's where I find that psychologically people get screwed up, and that's where unfortunately a lot of the time where early success can get you is if you do too much too soon, then you set your expectations way too high, and then you're just not happy with smaller profits. So just make sure that you're happy with your process, with where you're at. If you're a $100 a day trader, if you were, say that for example you were not really making anything until, say, that you learned some strategies here, and then you're starting to make $100, $200 a day, be happy with that. And just let it naturally progress to more and more. And like we talked about yesterday in the webinar is, feel free to scale it up after 4 or 5 or 6 green days in a row. And that's kind of what I did here, It's been a string of really good days since last Monday. So for the last 7 trading days have all been pretty big and pretty consistent. So today I just ramped it up a little bit. I saw some opportunities that I was like, hey, instead of 2,000 shares here, I'm going to take 3,000 or 4, and I was being a little more aggressive, but still at the same time sticking to all my standard rules and just basically just taking it one trade at a time. And it's kind of funny because this morning, remember in the beginning of the day, the first 30 minutes, PGNX wasn't working, and I actually said right on the stream, I said, it looks like today may not be as good for me as yesterday or the day before. I was off to a bit of a slow start. I was like, but you never know, things could pick back up. But I basically told myself that it wasn't going to be it wasn't going to be a home run today. And I guess maybe just, because I told myself that, and then I lowered my expectations, and then just kept doing what I was doing, is just trading and looking for good setups. It ended up being the best day of 2016 for me. So there's a lot to be said with your trading mentality. Don't put hard goals on yourself. Don't put hard pressure on yourself to make money. Just do what you can do with what the market gives you, where you're 100% comfortable. That's the key, is just to be 100% comfortable with every trade and every trade plan. So that means that, there's no situations where say that your trade plan is to risk 15 cents. You're not terrified to lose that 15 cents because it's going to demolish you. Whatever you're risking on that 15 cents should be a comfortable amount that is not going to ruin your day. It's not going to ruin your week. It's just another trade plan, Risk 50 to make 200. Risk 100 to make 500. Risk 20 to make 60 or 80 or 100. Just think of it think of every trade as an opportunity to risk X amount of dollars to make X amount. And guys, I really want to open the floor. Is there anything that we can go over specifically that might help you guys, or is everyone just doing fairly well? Everyone had a good day today? Nice ramp on OPTT into the close, guys. This is definitely going to be in play tomorrow, so I'm excited about this. Like I mentioned, $13 is where it's really been holding. So for the watch list tomorrow, our main area is going to be 13 on OPTT for support, and of course 1550 is, if this actually holds up, and we've seen it before. We've seen daily charts like this ramp up into $20. It's possible. So what I really don't get is, I'm sure so many people lost their shirts shorting this, and all they needed to do is just wait for the true reversal. on the 50 EMA, and there may have been times where it went down through it, and you can see it went down through it into the close yesterday. But as soon as it's back over, you got to be covering that. You'd be kind of crazy to hold this overnight, anyways. Made a nice trade into the late day yesterday, but today there was really no sign of a reversal at all. I mean, there was a lower high and a big trade in here that could have been made, but 13 over under held, 50 EMA still holding support. This is still fully on the front side. OPTT is going to be a nice trade for tomorrow, guys. So we'll keep that on top watch for tomorrow, along with OPGN, because this one actually also is holding support. A nice runner today. My biggest winner of the day. And it's actually holding VWAP and 50 EMA. So my target on the short was 360, and it pretty much just came, washed right through, and then it held over under, and now it's kind of starting to reclaim VWAP. So hopefully we don't get this a gap down tomorrow. I'd love to have one more good push on this tomorrow, and then potentially a reshort, unless it's going to go for a day 3. But for the plans for OPGN, guys, we'll just go over that tomorrow in real time. Other than that, I don't really have any interest in PGNX, but I'll be watching SPU along with these two. Unfortunately, this one's not shortable at ETC, but as you know, for you guys that are using Trade Zero, all of these stocks are shortable with their vision clearing. And if you are outside the US, that is not living in the United States, and you want an awesome clearing firm, you want a broker that can get you shorts on virtually any stock, I can't recommend Trade Zero enough for that. Shane, 5DNY, just set up with them, and he's getting geared up this week. I haven't heard any complaints from anyone else in our group that's used them, except for that they're saying the fees are awesome. They're exactly what they say they are. Free limit order trades, and if you're going to remove liquidity, it's like, I guess, $5 per thousand around. Super cheap platform and data fees. It's the best option I could possibly think of for a brand new trader, someone that's just learning the markets, that doesn't want to pay an arm and a leg in fees. Especially in the beginning. The first few months, you're not really looking to get rich. You should just be trying to learn how to trade, how to read charts. You're trying to learn and spend some time with our group. We want you to do that as cheap as possible. So that's a great option if you're outside the US. And as you know, we get a discount with them, so just reach out to me if you want to get set up with them, and we'll do my best to set you up. So I guess that's it for the day, guys. Just going to check the PMs really quick and see if I'm missing anything. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're all in the clear, guys. Not really having anyone coming through with any real questions, so it sounds like everyone's really grasping the concepts well. And I hope you're having a really good week. I hope you guys are having a good week like I am. And if I hope at the very least you're learning a ton, because there's so much good action in this market to learn from. Once you're a seasoned, trader, after a few months of learning, you're going to really be able to take advantage of these types of markets. Guys, thanks again for sticking around for the late day webinar. Unfortunately, yesterday's webinar on risk reward and trade planning, it didn't actually record properly. I recorded it, but I'm having some trouble with this hard drive, and I'm looking to change this computer out because it's giving me some trouble now. So I'm going to do a new video on trade planning, risk reward. This is all stuff you guys have learned, just being around with us, but it'd be cool to have it on a solid video where you can refer to it. And there's just some really good examples on stocks like SPU. Let's just go over it really quick since I didn't get it recorded today. We'll record hopefully. So there was a couple examples on SPU yesterday where we had super solid risk reward setups. The first one was 630. You can see that the stock ramped up really big just sort of after lunch. During and after lunch, it ramped up really big. We came back and it started to really base out nicely at this 630 area. Let me just get back there on the 1 minute chart where it's a little easier to see. And you can see that it held a higher low, then it started to consolidate. That is the type of trade that I love, because you can get in, for example, at like 36, 37, and you're risking literally 7 cents. And the reward on this trade was huge. This was actually one of my bigger trades yesterday because the entry and the exit was perfect. I actually got in on this one on the way back up right here, I think at 38. I think it was a little earlier even, 34, 35, I think 36 average, and then I added through 50. And someone actually put a bid up at 69 for like 3,000 shares. I have no idea why. It felt like a mistake, but I smacked it and took it right out, the whole amount at 69. So it was a perfect trade. And I wanted to bring it to your attention in the video yesterday because it's just the low risk setups are the ones that we love the most. So the ones that JB, tends to call out the most are the ones that he can say, look, there's a very low risk. There's a setup here where you can risk maybe 3, 4, 5 cents, and the reward is maybe like 20 cents. Those are the ones that we love the most, and that's why SPU, I really enjoyed this consolidation with 630 as clear risk on a long trade in this. Unfortunately, granted, it couldn't actually continue the pattern and break out, but even still, with the one move that it made, that's a great trade. And then when you see that it's not holding, you can just cut yourself out on that 9 EMA break. Or if you're like me, I just saw a perfect opportunity to exit the whole thing right there. It felt like a good trade, so I took it out. And then there was one more. It was SPHS, and this was my favorite one from yesterday. This one was, if I remember correctly, I got long at 312. Yeah, it was right in here. And we were looking for, and again, this one didn't follow through the way I'd hoped, but it still made us a decent amount of profit. We were looking for a 320 break, and it was just a really nice consolidation. So first it came down, held VWAP. We knew there was a bunch of shorts in this one because it put in some lower highs, and it just seemed like, I was watching the price action and the tape a little bit on it, and I'm just going to switch to a 1-minute chart because it's a little more clear again. Here we are on yesterday's action for SPHS. You can see that it spiked up, it put in some lower highs, and I think it was getting heavily shorted. I think people were shorting these areas, this area here, another lower high, but it just kept holding VWAP. See how this support just kept coming in there? Well, the more it supports VWAP and the more it holds, the more I'm going to like this for a possible long trade. And we know that just by looking at this chart that 430 is going to be a big breakout level, and 420 is probably going to trigger definitely some short covering. So here's 420. And here was 430. And again, granted, this is a setup for a home run trade. This is the kind of setup that you can really knock one straight out of the park with a fairly low risk. So as soon as 410 over under starts holding, I see these higher lows. I'm starting to like it. I get in right here at 412. We were commentating on the stream about how we like this one. JB got in as well. I made an add through 420 because that's like your cup and handle breakout pattern right there through 420, and then it spiked right up through 430. And by all means, a lot of the time I'm gonna wait and see if we can get a higher low, and then the true breakout, like this is where you can get a real home run trade, is if it holds the higher low and then it breaks out. There was something wacky in the price action that I mentioned, so I just went ahead and took it right out in the sort of mid to low 30 area. I took a third off as always right there, and then it kind of bounced, and then it looked weak again, and I took the rest off just around 30. I just had a feeling it wasn't going to hold. It was based on the price action in the moment, and it was part of my commentary, so I'm sure you guys caught on to that as well. But that's just two really good examples of some typical low-risk setups, the kind that we're looking for every single day, where you can say, well, you know what? Well, if I take a long on SPHS at 412, I'm risking off 409. I'm risking like 4 cents. And if this breaks 420 and 430, I'm now risking 4 cents to make like 30, 40, 50 cents or more. I mean, if this really got carried away, it could have broke high a day and really turned into like a runner. But at the end of the day, the point is low risk, potentially high reward. Just use the size that you're comfortable with. Don't worry about my P&L. Don't worry about anyone else's on Twitter's P&L. Just worry about what you're doing. If you're making $100 a day and you've been trading for 2 or 3 months, you are doing a hell of a lot better than I ever was my first 3 months, and you should be super, super happy with that progress. So just keep doing what you're doing. Just stay comfortable in what you're doing. There's a lot of psychological battles that we all have to kind of overcome in our trading. And even when things start to go great, there's always going to be some setbacks, some big, mistake that you make. And we've all been there, and we've all been through it. And we'll help you through it if that happens to you. But hopefully, through the commentary and through the nature of our group and what we do here, it helps you steer clear of a lot of those mistakes, and will help you overcome a lot of those, psychological battles that are surely going to happen in the first year of your trading. All right, guys, let's call it a day. Thanks again for being with us. Feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions or there's anything I can do additionally to help you out. Have a great night, guys. We will see you all first thing tomorrow morning. Let's keep this train rolling into the end of the week. All right, guys, have a great night. Cheers.